Hello world, this is Kimberly and Connor here over at Big Red SEO. How are you today? Thank you for handling us in our tardiness. We had a little bit of a shenanigans with the conference room and scenarios. And with life and business, you got to bob and weave, bob and weave, bob and weave. So we're here, we have a new time, and it's kind of an exciting announcement of why we have a new time. We are traveling a lot more on a personal level as well as business. As many of you guys know, we do business all throughout the U.S. as well as 3 different countries. And we made the intention to want to travel more. And as you guys know, us just being who we are with that intention, we have grown by leaps and bounds of clients all throughout the U.S. So we're taking advantage of being able to travel and having that in our lifestyle, right? Mm-hmm. But the more exciting news for you guys is we switched the date to Tuesday because one, it's like kind of in the brink middle of our week. Believe it or not, sometimes we work on weekends. We just don't tell a lot of people that, right? But in addition to that, like we changed it so we can answer questions. So if you're in business on Tuesday, it's a little bit easier for that. So thanks for being flexible with us and handling all that shenanigans as well.
Yeah, Fridays are here. It's summertime, and quite frankly, I want to go golf.
Yeah, he likes to golf, right? He likes to golf, but that's not really the reason why we changed it. But kind of, guys,
just a little bit.
Kind of. So as you guys know, we are discussing a couple different things for you today. One, we have found that we talk to a lot of different prospects and clients, and they all have specific challenges, and sometimes these themes are in common, right? So we want to cover those with you guys today. If you are brand new and tuning in, we are Big Red SEO. We're a husband and wife team. We're super wicked passionate about helping mission-driven businesses be able to grow their online presence as well as just taking their website out of hiding. Our special niche is SEO. It stands for Search Engine Optimization. Believe it or not, I had a conversation this morning with a gentleman out front, and he was like, "What is SEO?" And I was like, "Actually, you probably use it every day. You just don't even realize it."
Right.
When we pick up our phone and we're like, "Pizza near me," in theory, you're actually utilizing the SEO service, right? So we help businesses be where their ideal client is presented, right? We are not necessarily about driving a shit ton of traffic to a website just to be able to have traffic. Instead, we want to help business owners, creatives, or marketing individuals be able to make really, really good money and to be able to do business with people that they like, right?
Right.
So with that, we have a couple of current challenges that a lot of our new prospects came through the pipeline. And so with Connor and I chatting, we were like, why don't we just help people with this? So one of the challenges was a lot of times we refer to ourselves, not just us, but other people refer to themselves as being a small business. Mm-hmm. And in most cases, it comes to, oh, we're just a mom and pop shop, or, oh, we're just a small little business. We don't need to make a lot of money. We're just a small little brick and mortar, right? Like you guys probably find yourself even using this language as well.
Well,
right?
even, you look at, who's it? American Express does the Small Business Saturday celebration. Mm-hmm. So every Saturday you buy local and small business. But the crazy thing is what the definition of a small business is. And, our definition, your definition, and the definition of our buddies that run another firm may be completely different on each person, each level. So.
Yeah. So, and there's nothing wrong with using the word small business. It's actually a classification of some people that, here's the deal. Like we have a client that's classified as a small business and they make $2 billion a year.
2 million.
Well, the other one I'm thinking about is billion. Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
It's the one undercover that they don't talk about. But yes, there is another one that makes $2 billion, and they're classified as a small business. Yeah. So in theory, if you looked at their team size, right? If you looked at their clientele size, right? They've just found a way to make a really, really great profit, and they're super passionate, so they hit the ground running, and they don't get into the overwhelm, exhaust, and so forth. We do have another new client that makes $2 million a year, and they actually are classified as a small business as well, right? So if you look at the numbers, you're like, oh gosh, this is classified as a small business, but it's the way that we describe the small business. We actually had a client this week say, I don't know if I want to take any more business I don't know if I want very much more business, right?
Right.
when that comes into play, in most cases, what happens is there's a couple things at play. One, they might have an inherited belief that if they took on more business, they're going to be even more chaotic and busy. So it depends on the industry. It also depends on the human. So if I go to Connor and say, hey, Connor, let's grow the business an additional 65%. Guess what his analytical brain's going to do? It's going to shut down. It's going to be like, how do I do this? How do I get away with this? How do I...
Right. Yeah. So you look at that and it's like, okay, I know how busy I am right now. And then if you're going to bring in, another 9 new clients or another 15 clients, I know how much more busy I'm going to be. But with all that said, if you look at what we were doing 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and where we are now, we've doubled, tripled the business to where we are, and it's still 2 people. So we figured out how to continue to operate within the means
and
given.
It comes down to, right, like sometimes you have to reach out. Like, what I'll be honest and vulnerable, we invested in a coach. I invested in a coach. I invested not just in a business coach, right? I invested in an area that I wanted to expand and believe in. So I actually invested into a prosperity coach. I learned universal laws. I learned energy. It's not for everybody. I get that. It's no big deal. But it's what has infused our business. And therefore, when I mentor and I coach, I utilize those 2 tools as well, right? And for me, like, you had already figured out the streamlined processes. We got to the point where we streamlined the system so much that was the core structure that whenever we started to grow, and we started to grow by leaps and bounds, everything was already in place for us to be able to have the launch pad. But I've got to be honest, like whenever I hear a small business say, you know what, I don't know if I want to make any more money, it breaks my heart, because in most cases, if we actually turn inward and audit energy in, energy out, or tasks that are productive, not tasks that are productive. Here's the thing for all of you entrepreneurs that are running your own gig and your legacy and your dream, you've got to come first. And in most cases, what can happen is boots hit the ground with the business. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm not saying that it's not right to do that. What I am saying is you have to figure out how to fill your bucket, because if you don't, things might go wonky pretty quick, pretty fast. So, and it took us years to figure this out with you, right?
Oh, yeah.
It took years.
So, Marcus Lemonis, he does the...
Oh, I love his show, The Prophet.
The Prophet, there you go.
Hey, if you're a fan of The Prophet, put a blurb down there.
Put a thing down there.
If you're a fan of The Prophet, we might do a watch party, because I really like that show.
But he has what's called the 3 Ps, and it's the people, process, and... Profit. So
he didn't know the one.
See, I was going with project, processes and procedures, but essentially the one way that he operates, or the one way that he gets the business to expand, is by figuring out what the process, what the procedure is, and then fixing the areas. For us, one of our big process procedure areas that was a hang up was our project management system. What is working, what's not working, what's being tracked,
this person
and what's
it.
not.
I rebelled it, and I still do rebel it, and he calls me on my shit, and I allow it to happen, and I'm like, I know, and then I go into it and I do it again.
So basically, we're spending money on a project management system that's probably a lot more than other people would spend, but we're spending that because it makes us more money. It also keeps us very organized. So here's the deal is like, and not to interrupt you, but one of the reasons why I rebel it is because I like pen to paper, and it's a lot of electronics, right? But whenever I get into the flow and I do the electronics and it's all organized and scheduled and all that stuff, I don't have to think about stuff. I just come in, drop, and I'm like, all right, what am I working on today? What are you working on today? And it's like click, boom, go, right? So in true confession, whenever I rebel the system, this is a really true confession. When I rebel the system, that is my own form of an activity of sabotage. Because I know if I go off to this area and I rebel it, that it's going to get dirty, and it's going to get sticky, and it's going to get overwhelming. I'll get into all these things that I know that I don't need these things. Avoidance.
avoidance, procrastination, like confusion. Like you guys probably adjust with this and align with it quite well, right? And then all of a sudden I have this come to conversation with Conor, and then shabam, and then I get organized, and then I feel good because everything's organized, right? It's still even, I don't want to say still, it happens to me on occasion.
It does.
And I think that there's like that part where when it goes and it flows really, really well, it's so good. You're like, hey, wait, what is there to stress out about?
I don't need this anymore.
Hey, what's going on? Like, what's going on? So anyway, but back to the very thing, what I will say is that if you address yourself as a small business, right? Make sure that it's not like condescending, or it's not you actually playing like you're small, like you're dim, right? There are people out there that are very successful in what they do. They create the definition of their own success, right? So whether it's money or having flexibility to spend time with family or golfing 2 days a week, like they create their own version of success. And sometimes what I see specifically on social media, a lot of people will go out and brag. They'll go out and do these different things. If that's your jam, cool. I can tell you there's a lot of successful million and billionaires out there that are super duper humble in making money, and they don't necessarily put it out there. So on the outside, you'd be like, hey, how are they doing all these things, right? And that's where they don't have the necessary ego arrogance to brag about it. Instead, they just step in and they do. Does that make sense?
And I think there's a lot of people that, have the perception that if you're out doing all these things, then you're not always working. But as an entrepreneur, at least from my end of things, when I would be driving from place to place, that was often the time I got my best thinking, my best work done, that I could build out the process or the procedure and essentially find where that bottleneck is and then replace it with a person. And then they take care of that little part for me.
It's classified as dashboard time for him. Dashboard time's required. Like loud music, cigars, smoke, rolling in. It's his own jam. It's what he likes.
That's what I do.
It's what he does. So the other things for you guys as well that we saw a common theme this month with new prospects was, believe it or not, whatever time frame you say it's going to take for you to be successful, whether it's you're going to do a revenue goal or you're going to initiate marketing or you're going to learn a skill, whatever time frame that you put, it's going to take that amount of time frame. So here's what I would say. Maybe if you say in the next 6 months, I want to build a website and create it yourself, hopefully you call us, but hey, some people prefer to do it themselves and kudos to you. But if you say in 6 months, I want to build this website, what I want you to do is I want you to realistically write out a list of things that need to have happen. And then I want you to shorten that time frame to 30 days. If you say, I'm going to launch this business and within 12 months, we want to hit this revenue goal, I would like to see you write out a list and then shrink that down to 90 days. In thoughts and theories, our brain believes that we need time, but we actually don't need time to get into action, right?
You need focus.
Right. So it's about focus, but then also if you're spreading a time frame like that out, there's kind of a little part of you that's playing small. The other part is that a lot of people will automatically get into, I don't want to be overwhelmed. Well, honestly, how do you know you are overwhelmed, right? Like, I get it. Like, some people are like, I just have so many things to do, but really take an audit on it. Is it that you're overwhelmed, or is it that you want the success, or do you want to throw a kink in, right? Like, there's multiple different things with this in the business, right? But for small business, if you want to try a thing that I've been doing the last couple weeks is refer to your business as being lean and mean if you have a small team. Right? In lead with intention, as well as what clarity do you have, right? As a business, what are you trying to accomplish? What are you looking to accomplish? Oh, Conor did the YouTube stuff. Oh, I see it over here. But yeah, so come back to what is the why? What's the intention? Where is the clarity? And then believe it or not, things will happen quicker and sooner. And these are the different areas that both Conor and myself help and mentor and coach business owners specifically. That's kind of where our jam is. We help them get clean and clear about this stuff to figure out where is your intention going? Where are you trying to do these things? Just last night, I met with a client and it was like they had so many plates spinning in the air. I'm like, okay, stop. Let's pause all plates. What is the top 3, right?
Yeah, pick one.
Let's figure out the clarity of what is the top 3 that you want to do, because what can happen is there's so many different avenues that you're focusing on. It can get very confusing, if that makes sense. Where is your intention going?
For me, it's like cleaning out the garage. I mean, if I walk into our garage and there's stuff everywhere, I'm not going to get anything done.
Yeah.
Because I'll see it all and I'll just say, screw it, So, or I will attempt to do something here and then I'll move to a different part and I'll do something over here.
Right, yeah.
You're guilty of that too.
Yeah. I move
but
things.
if you step back a minute and actually prioritize what needs to get done, even for those small wins.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the financial guy that does the snowball money thing.
Dave Ramsey.
You're
just dropping names today. Jeez,
yeah, all over
I'm like, oh man.
But he does a whole program where it's basically those small wins. You get that small win done, you complete whatever it is, and now you compile those efforts onto the next thing.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing from a business perspective. If you have 15 plates in the air and you've only got 3 that you need to focus on, once they're done, it'll actually speed up your process for everything else.
Yeah, and the thing is like, definitely celebrate the cool things that you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. If you want to reduce the pendulum swing of the big win versus the not so ideal days, right? Find a way to celebrate the wins, but move on to what's the next thing coming into the pipeline, so you don't wind up getting into. If you need some help with that, let me know. It kind of gets sticky on this conversation.
Sure.
But yeah, so the one things that I want to say to you guys, how we've been able to help businesses this week specifically, but also throughout April, is helping them see and understand time management. You guys have known, for 52 weeks, Facebook Lives, we've been talking about time management. Seeing businesses be able to do this, especially when it comes to marketing. It's important to figure out what is the avenue. We get asked all the time, social media, what should we do? What should we use? What account should we do? Our rule is let the dragon sleep until you're ready to wake it up. And what this means is if you're in Facebook and you're rocking Facebook really, really well, stick with Facebook for a bit, right? Figure out the nuts and bolts of Facebook if you want.
If it's working.
If it's working, you got to track it, right? You got to look at it. Don't just set it and forget it. But then also, say that you decide you want to do something else. Is it Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn? Do some research about the industry to figure it out, right? Figure out where to go and then implement that too. A lot of times we see businesses implement across the board and they copy everything all the way across the board and there's no rhyme and reason or intention. And then here's the worst thing that happens. They don't track it to find out if it's working. So they wind up
let it go.
They wind up applying this time and or they pay for this service that doesn't get anything out of it. So it's important to look at the analytics.
And as much as we're an online company, we deal with the pay-per-click and the social media end of things for our own marketing. If you've got a billboard, if you've got a yellow pages, if you've got a radio spot, and you're making money out of those, continue with them. I've been saying for years that the yellow pages is pretty much dead. And
they're not doing the book anymore next year.
Yeah,
that's the rumor I heard. They're not doing the book anymore. It was probably about 3.5 years ago they started getting into online marketing, so they're going that way completely. Here's the deal. It depends on the industry. I'll tell you, trades businesses, they get traction with yellow pages, yellow book, whatever it is.
And even the door hangers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to toss them out, but you're still going, 9 times out of 10, you will actually make more money out of it than you will on your spending of marketing.
Yeah.
So what we're essentially saying then is to track what's actually working and what's not.
Right.
Improve what is working and then throw away or discard what's not working.
And here's the deal. Last week we had a client come to us and say, you know what, I don't track because I really don't know how, I really don't understand this stuff and I get overwhelmed with it and I don't understand what the numbers mean. So if this is you, reach out to us. We actually offer one-off consulting training, right? But don't let you not having the knowledge of what to find be the thing that stops you from tracking. Because here's the deal. We've worked with people in the tracking where what happens is we teach them how to track it and then they put the intention in there and they grow that business into their ideal clientele. Or we even had years ago, we had a law firm come to us for pay-per-click ads to clean up their ads, and they spent like, was it $36,000 in AdWords in a state that they don't even represent, that they can't even do business in, right? And what happened was there was another firm that did the ads, and they paid for that to show that they got traffic into their site. But since that business owner didn't know Google AdWords and they didn't know how to look at the analytics, they actually didn't know that they were wasting money, if that makes sense.
All they essentially tracked was the number of visitors that came in. They didn't actually track where those visitors came.
Right.
And they were advertising throughout the entire U.S., but they're only licensed to practice law in Nebraska.
Right.
And that's a big deal.
Yeah, it was kind of we had to give the person a drop of whiskey before we gave that news, right? And we're not saying that we're not trash talking the person that did it. That's not what it's about. Our whole key intention is we want to make sure you guys are educated and you understand things, right? These are different things that you can look at, but make it a priority to track the business, track the marketing, figure out this stuff.
And things change. AdWords accounts that I've set up 2 years ago are completely different than an AdWords account that I would set up today. And so we would encourage you to review and audit your ads on a semi-regular basis.
Don't set it and forget it, guys. It never works well. Trust me, it never does. And then all of a sudden you're like, why is there no business coming in? And you didn't realize that you paused it like weeks prior.
Or business just starts to slow down because the intention of the marketing is different.
Or you bust through your ad budget because business, like everybody else, started paying attention, woke up and started using ads. There's multiple different things, right, guys? The other part too is I want to share with you guys that if for whatever reason you are a little bit confused on the message or the language to utilize on your website to be able to get new clients, new prospects, if that makes sense, be okay with reaching out to your existing clientele that you have a rapport with. We've talked about this on previous videos. We know that we're awesome and our videos are awesome, but sometimes people may not want to go watch all of our videos, right?
I don't. I've watched them all.
But so here's the deal is whenever you're talking to your ideal client, and maybe it's you don't have a conversation with every client, but maybe there's a top 3 that are open to feedback. You just say, hey, like, what was that thing that you found on my website that made you pick up the phone and pick me? Or what was it that you read? What was it that you resonated with that made you choose me as a partner, right? And then go back through your website and actually read like you are them and see what they actually selected as a conversion. Because here's the deal is, one, you already got them as a client, so it's 100% conversion. So why not adapt your existing content, your social media message, all your different marketing messages, including newsletters, based on a person that's already converted, right? So you can get more. Maybe you can convert somebody quicker if you adapt and adjust your marketing or your language.
Even from that, we've seen, that business changes over time, and things that you may not have offered 2 years ago and wrote articles that you're not offering these services, and now you are. So you'll need to clean that kind of stuff up, and then just pay attention to the language that's in there. I mean, the language of business has changed in the last few years.
It has. And here's the deal is like for us, we don't market with fear-based language. We don't market with scarcity language. It's just one of the core things that we have integrity-wise. We've used some cool techniques in previous videos, so you'll have to go hunt and peck them for sure. There's some different stuff that you can apply. But what I can tell you is intention and language matters a lot, especially when you're talking about your ideal client. Let's see what else. Okay, so
right up on time there.
Yeah, we're almost here. So really quickly, another thing is be sure when you pick up the phone from a prospect or a client towards the end of the conversation or follow up via email, ask them how they heard about you. This is like a way for you to be able to actually customize your marketing. Be sure to ask them about the keyword that they selected. Believe it or not, people actually remember the keyword. If not, they will be happy to go into the history while you're on the phone and tell you every single keyword they typed in. Don't necessarily worry about the position of where you're located. You can get kind of stuck into that. We're not saying look at that. Instead, figure out what keyword they typed in and how they landed on your site. Again, to recap, ask them what they liked about your website, what language caused them to convert. This is like a hidden thing that people don't typically do that can make a huge, huge impact on your business.
And even ask if the website worked. Maybe they were frustrated and they ended up just picking up the phone. Maybe there's something missing in the website that they didn't find that they expected to find in a certain place.
Like a phone number.
Like a phone number. We've seen it.
All right, guys. We hope today you guys got some amazing nuts and gems and golden opportunities. Yeah.
You want to use any other phrase?
Yeah, any other opportunities. We had a fantastic April. We thank all of you guys for joining us as well as following us. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. Connor's going to put the blurb on. You can follow us on Facebook.
Facebook, Big Red SEO. We've got the twitter.com/Big Red SEO and then youtube.com/Big Red SEO.
Whenever we produce content, we're actually going to be putting it on YouTube to start. So we recommend that you subscribe to our channel. It'll make this guy super, super happy.
Yep.
We will be back next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Knock on wood, we'll be a little bit early so we can just start and get going. So we look forward to talking to you guys again soon. Have a good rest of April, and we'll chat later.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Have a great day now. Bye-bye.